Hi Bison, welcome to Finna Get Wacky Episode 2.
Brought to you by Wendy's,
where your breakfast could have been free.
This episode of Finna Get Wacky, we're going to be exploring how the console wars has affected the rest of your life,
how 9/11 censorship back then contributes to today,
and the pros of the metaverse.
With that, I'll begin. First, I'll be talking about how the console war has affected everywhere else in society. And for that, I'm going to start on my first source, which is Activision's concerning tactics in the world right now. In today's world, corporate sustainability is a very large affecting factor towards a lot of these a lot of companies, and Activision is no different. Activision has a very poor corporate sustainability, and what really this means is that Activision's company buildup has not been very good in recent years. They've gone on measures that have only been about making money and not about consumer products being very good. And what this has done is Activision's game quality has been slowly declining. But what it has really done that is important to today's today is it has led to a very bad culture for game development at Activision Blizzard. When your company only becomes about making money and not guaranteeing the quality of the consumer or the quality of the worker at that place, then you have a lot of issues in the place. Of course, there's the thing that made me bring this up is there's been a lot of heightened awareness about racism, diversity, inclusion, climate change. But really, the one key thing that brought this up is there was a big suicide at Activision Blizzard, and that's what caused a lot of the problems here. That's what came with all of the publicity. In the suicide note, they mentioned Activision Blizzard's toxic workplace community as a key factor on why they were killing themselves, because they had got just that much of a frat boy culture, which leads me on to my second source. Activision's frat boy culture tarnishes Blizzard's successful image. Now, this source pretty much just talks about how Activision Blizzard's quality in the eye of the consumer has been dropping with its games, and now with this, as I previously have said, but I'm more talking about the stock side in this article. This is pretty much, or what I mean by this is all of the people who have invested into the Activision Blizzard game company have been threatening to pull out, because the way Activision Blizzard has handled this has not been very effective at all. What they've really only done is they've just denied all the claims, and they've just pretty much ignored this entire person's suicide. They've said that they have a nice workplace community, even though they have thousands of reports on people complaining about the workplace environment being a very bad environment. And that's what brings me into my next topic, pretty much, is my third source. Gamers greet Microsoft's Activision deal with guarded optimism. And what this talks about is Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard for $70 billion. This is important because Disney, a company that we all know and love, bought Star Wars for $4 billion and bought the entirety of Marvel for $4 billion.
That's a lot of biggie bags.
That is a lot of biggie bags.
Brought to you by Wendy's.
Brought to you by Wendy's. $4 billion is nothing to scoff at, especially when $8 billion is the total they paid for an entire movie franchise and the entirety of a company that makes billions a year, pretty much. $70 billion is what Microsoft bought Activision for, and what this is important. What this is important because it shows just how large the Microsoft versus Sony console wars has affected the economy, right? So the amount of money that goes into the entertainment industry is exponential. It is so massive that $70 billion is something they needed to spend to make an even playing field or try to get an upper hand against Sony. But this is also important because with the acquisition of Microsoft Blizzard, they have also acquired anything to do to make the company better. They acquired the ability to make the company better. So they can stop this corporate sustainability. And Microsoft has in the past been known for making very good deals and contracts with companies. They're very hands-off, but they make sure that things get done and get done well. They take a very Google type of thing to it, where they make sure that everyone has everything they could possibly want or need, has all of the funding possible, and they make sure that they produce quality content. And recently we have guaranteed this to be done through they've decided to make their Call of Duty franchise one of their most best-selling franchises in Activision, only release bi-yearly instead of just yearly, meaning that the quality of these games can be a lot better as they have a lot more time to work on these games. And that puts me into my fourth source, which is game console makers grapple with chip shortages as demand outstrips supply. And what this means is that going back into this why the console war is so important to the rest of the world argument, right? So during COVID, when they were making chips for consoles and cars and anything really, when we didn't need to make new cars because no one was going anywhere, a lot of these chips got reallocated to the game market because the game market was growing as the car market was dying out pretty much because of COVID. People had a lot more time to spend on entertainment and a lot less time to be spending on cars. So this article pretty much goes about the struggle of COVID, and it also talks a bit about how the cryptocurrency has influenced the chip shortages. And really what it's talking about in this article, however, that I want to bring up is the chip shortage is starting to grow as we can see more of the chips being placed back into cars and cryptocurrency. And since the supply of cars is increasing, because the value of new cars is also increasing because people are starting to need cars again, we see chip shortages in this area. So with these chip shortages, it is making a lot of consoles and cars and anything that has to use these chips very expensive. And this is mainly because the demand for consoles was so high during the time of COVID. But that's one of the big ways the console war has affected the outside world. Going on to my next source 5, Sony net income in 2006 to 2021. And I just bring this source up because it's going over just how overall Sony and other departments of their company, not the game market, but their other markets, have been slowly declining whilst PlayStation, Sony's main video game competitor, is its only one that's currently still okay. And they have been making some very questionable decisions recently. Some of these questionable decisions I'm going to go into are they've made their digital-only console $400 compared to Microsoft's digital-only, which is $300. And that's one of the big important things, is because as we move into a more digital-only audience for these new consoles, people who want the cheaper option are automatically going to have to flock towards Microsoft. And I know for a fact that people are going to want the cheaper option because I have a couple of examples from friends who have bought the cheaper option because it has been either the only option or because it's been the cheaper option. So with all of these more sales going to Microsoft, with also the acquisition of the game company Microsoft Blizzard, Activision Blizzard, bought by Microsoft, and they also bought Bethesda for $7 billion, only a tenth of what they bought Activision Blizzard for, but nothing to scoff at. $7 billion is still an important number. I think a little off topic, but I think that Microsoft this year is going to win the console war just because Game Pass has 25 million people this year, and they have Activision Blizzard, they have Bethesda, and they have all of their own Microsoft exclusives, including, and what this means is they have Skyrim, Minecraft, they have Call of Duty, all of these in Game Pass for $15 a month. The overall total for how much Game Pass is worth is $15,000 at least, because they are adding more and more every month. So with $15,000 for $15 a month, people are automatically going to flock towards this Game Pass, as we've seen with the $25 million worth of money being poured in. Just to go back on topic to my last source, the console war has invigorated scalpers to continue doing what scalpers do. And what scalping is buying an item, all of the stock of this item as soon as the item can come out with bots, and then reselling this item at a extremely high price. And this is pretty much originated in the console war. It is spread to other markets, however, because of the demand factor of it. So this source, it pretty much just talks about how these console wars have, how the console wars have affected the scalpers. Scalpers have been a very important part of the console wars for a while now, but with these new consoles being released last year, these scalpers are still the only ones really in control of the bulk of the demand for a lot of these products, really. And a lot of these scalpers have moved into different areas of different marketplaces and have continued their scalping activities, which I think is almost illegal, but that's just me. There's no evidence for that. That's all of my sources. You want to talk about your topic?
Before we jump into my topic, quick sponsorship fact of the day. We have two of them. Did you guys know that not only your breakfast could come free, but so could your lunch with this QR code on the back of a small, medium, or large Wendy's drink? Also, with the $70 billion that Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard for, you could have bought 490 billion biggie bags.
And how much does a biggie bag cost?
$5 now including tax.
Oh dang, $5 whole bucks. And what do I all get for this?
You get a burger, you get fries, you get a drink, and 4 chicken nuggets.
4 chicken nuggets.
And I can have those in spicy or regular, I heard.
Yes, you can.
No way!
Just head on down to Wendy's, where your breakfast or lunch could be free. Now jumping into my topic. Going on to our first source of the day. Censorship after 9/11. 9/11 was a huge tragedy back in 2001, but that is like 11 years ago. It still impacts society today, as we will see further on. But going back to Spider-Man 2002, there was an early trailer released for that movie where the web slinger caught the helicopter between the two towers, but due to the terrorist attacks, that had to be edited out. There's other shows and movies such as Sex and the City, Lilo and Stitch, which had the plane scene actually go in between two towers, but due to 9/11, that had to be cut out. We also have Big Brother. But actually, going on to my second source, something that Caleb was talking about, video games. Video games are no less a subject to censorship than movies and TV shows. As you can see, Grand Theft Auto 3 had a terrorist mission, but that had to be cut out because of 9/11 and the terrorist acts that people saw during that day. So what we can actually see from these two sources is that not only are movies and TV shows subject to censorship, but so are games because of these horrendous activities. Now, you may be asking yourself, how does this flow into modern day America? As you can see, going on to my third source, sorry about that, thoughtco.com just talks about media censorship and how it affects the news you see. There can be censorship based off bias, censorship just based on what's deemed appropriate. Of course, there's some societal norms that we deem appropriate, and some that are more taboo, as some may say. But media censorship really comes from the bias in the media. You see, the more left-leaning political sites have CNN, and the more right-leaning have Fox. Both of those have censorship on what quotes they put in and what sources they have, correct?
I believe so.
Thank you. So that shows how about modern day censorship. And my fourth source today talks about censorship in the digital age. So Facebook, Instagram, all these companies that Meta has. A lot of censorship has happened there. People blame political bias, but honestly, it could just be because of the content that those comments say. And going on to my fifth source from humanrightswatch.org. An article by Dina Pokempe talks about how 9/11 actually influences the censorship that we see today. The censorship that we see today is mainly, the censorship that we see today is heavily influenced by 9/11. We have journalists in the crosshairs, which is something that this author brings up, talking about how if journalists talk about the specific thing, a specific group of people could get mad, and vice versa. So what that shows is that after 9/11, people have had a huge, not sensitivity, but huge, news stations take a huge risk factor on what they should show in the news because of 9/11 and how that has impacted it. Another thing that they bring up, Another thing that they bring up is new twists on old offenses. So basically talking about hate speech and blasphemy. Hate speech is a huge thing that gets brought up in censorship and a huge issue. We can see that hate speech can be used to be derogatory to other races, ethnicities, and sexes. So how 9/11 fueled all this is by the pure shock and terror that these news channels showed on that fateful morning has shown society that maybe some things shouldn't be shown on TV, in our movies, in our TV shows, or video games. So what it practically shows is that 9/11 impacted censorship so heavily that 11 years later, we see it to this day. But one thing that has not been censored throughout all its time, Wendy's. What do you guys think about this?
Well, I personally think that Wendy's is an amazing brand and that I consume it 3 times a day, every week of every year.
Caleb?
What do I think about your article?
Yes.
Any questions I have at the moment?
Just, what do you think about censorship?
What do I think about censorship?
Yes.
I think that censorship is needed to a degree. However, I don't think that all censorship is needed. I feel like that we should be able to discuss some more harsher topics, especially now in today's world, 20 years or so after this event has occurred, and that this is going to sound kind of weird, but I still think that though we should have a respect towards this thing, it was a horrible occurrence, it was a bad thing,
A tragedy.
I think that we should be able to expose more people towards more things now because of this happening a while ago. We still treat the thing with respect, though.
Speaking of showing more awareness to something, the McDonald's Biggie Bag has 2 items. The Wendy's Biggie Bag has 2 items, a burger and chicken nuggets for $5, not including tax. Kai, what's your topic?
Before Kai gets to his topic, however,
Oh.
I think it's actually arm wrestle break. Get
Oh.
on the floor. We're going down right here, right now.
Okay.
Okay.
On your mark. Get ready. Go! Wait, hold on. Let me take a sip of my Wendy's drink. Your breakfast could come free, or your lunch.
Oh,
The power of Wendy's.
Wendy's. Alright. Now, getting back more on topic. Kai, what do you have to bring to the table?
Today, I will be discussing what we look forward to as we transfer to a world more into the metaverse. My first bit of information, or source, will be the expansion of social media beyond Web 2.0. Zuckerberg and the people behind Meta platforms recognize the capability of technology to allow people to connect and express themselves more naturally. But current social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok, as well as communication platforms such as Zoom, restricts digital human interaction within a 2-dimensional plane. We are stuck in your screen, in your face? How many headaches do you get each night as you lie awake, crying yourself to sleep because you didn't buy a Wendy's Biggie Bag? Now, with the metaverse, that Wendy's Biggie Bag, it's there for you. Not in your screen, in your face. Doesn't sound nice? Anyhow, the ampersand is the reason why Facebook changed its company name to Meta Platforms and is geared away from being identified as a social media company to head toward branding itself as a social technology company. The company intends to combine virtual reality and augmented reality to enable more realistic digital and communication interaction. Of course, because it is a expansion of social media beyond Web 2.0, the specific application of Metaverse centers on creating and sharing digital information on contents that market dramatically leap from simple text, photos, and videos. These contents are much graphic intensive. Furthermore, users become the content themselves.
Breaking news. I'm so sorry, Kai, but breaking news, everybody. On February 2nd, 2022, Wendy's tweeted out, grab a free 10-piece nug in the app with any purchase.
Free 10-piece?
Free 10-piece. Right here, ladies and gentlemen. Wendy's is going through the fields. Kai.
Really plowing today's market in the food industry. Okay. On to my second source. Innovative communication for work and education. As we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic that started in 2020, or hit us and quarantined us from schools around March, compelled businesses from different industries and sectors around the world to embrace digital technologies or online-enabled forms of communication. Remote work or telecommuting and work-from-home arrangements have become a solution to keep these businesses running and individuals employed. Even education institutions were forced to utilize technologies and services to enable remote or distance learning due to restrictions in face-to-face interactions. Note that the COVID-19 pandemic is the primary reason why video conferencing platforms such as Zoom Video Communications, Google Meet, and Microsoft Teams have become more popular. Because, as we all know, we're not with each other. But you know what's with you? Wendy's Biggie Bag. Anyhow, a platform based on the metaverse would allow a more engaging interaction among participants due to the immersive and graphically rich virtual environment. Instead of seeing the rest of the participants on a computer screen and communicating through microphones and speakers, imagine being in a virtual office or lecture hall, being able to see around and navigate through this virtual environment in a complete 360-degree fashion while interacting with lifelike avatars of the participants. Third source. New opportunities for businesses and marketers. Social networking sites and platforms have disrupted the media industry. Unlike the traditional mediums of mass communication, such as broadcast and print, in which the audience or confined to consuming and receiving messages, the introduction and eventual popularity of social media has enabled the public to become a messenger and content creator themselves. It's also worth mentioning that social media platforms have also opened opportunities for businesses of all sizes and marketers to promote their products and services in ways that surpass the reach and capabilities of traditional media. These platforms have paved the way for the introduction of a new subfield of marketing and a specific type of digital marketing called social media marketing. Of course, because of one of the idealized applications of metaverse is the expansion of social media beyond Web 2.0, it can also be used as a platform for marketing. It will inherit the advantages of social media, but with more added benefits. More specifically, the benefits of metaverse in business is and marketers center on the advantages of visualization. Marketers can create visualized versions of their products or place storefronts in a shared virtual world that can be viewed and navigated through any device by a user. Well, any virtual reality device. It will also open a new avenue for electronic commerce that takes advantage of augmented reality. The interactions between the target market and marketing contents and ads will be more immersive. So say you're sitting at home and you're feeling like eating a Wendy's goodie bag, or at least you want to see what's in it before you buy it. Slap on your goggles, turn on that augmented virtual reality. It's right there for you to mess around with. Now you know what's in your Wendy's biggie bag. My final source. Complementing the applications of blockchain technology. So, another notable advantage of the metaverse is that it supplements or complements the applications of blockchain technology, which is shown to be the primary technology behind cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and the Ether cryptocurrency of Ethereum. platform, Dogecoin, and the ADA cryptocurrency of the Cardano platform. But blockchain is more than just a technology for implementing and maintaining cryptocoins and crypto tokens. It is specifically a decentralized or distributed database used as a record for, or used as a record or ledger of transactions. Another one of its notable applications is in the creation and distribution of digital assets called non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, which we all know is the booming thing on the internet right now, as McHenry would say. Through the creation of NFTs using blockchain technology, a new trend in gaming attempts to promote the concept of play to earn, in which players can earn an income and acquire in-game digital assets that are tradable and usable in other platforms or game titles. These games are called NFT or blockchain games. Some of its notable examples include Axie Infinity. Remember that a metaverse is a shared digital realm of virtual space. Blockchain applications such as cryptocurrency, tokenization of contents through NFT, and blockchain games, as well as a decentralized finance and cybersecurity, are activities that are made possible through the participation and collaboration of internet users. What are your guys' thoughts?
Alright. You mind if I actually rephrase what you just said?
Yes.
Let's lead that into a grand crossfire of questions for our final thing. Alright.
Alright.
Kai, would you say that these play-to-earn games have... Okay, when you say these play-to-earn games have become more and more popular in today's world, instead of these pay-to-win, what do you mean by play-to-earn instead of, let's say, this pay-to-win, which my article may talk about in its source?
So,
for
some games out there that are pay to win, you pay money for certain in-game items that give you a unfair advantage in that playing field. But these play to win games gives you the opportunity to grow and expand your own skill set in these games, as well as your items and usable technologies. Let's just put it like that. In the game that you have earned by yourself and your own hard work. The player is rewarded for playing the game and putting the time in to work. It's like a job almost, except you're being rewarded for it with an entire new experience besides the in-game workplace.
Alright. First, before you go, may I have a question for you?
You may.
Alright. Do you think that nowadays, have we eased up on these censorship after 9/11? Have we fully come full circle and decided that we can finally display these things on the media yet, or are we still in a zone that is stuck between being able to show these things and not?
Now, that's an interesting question, Caleb. I'm glad you brought this up. Because, of course, we talk about 9/11 every single year on 9/11. It's anniversary. We talk about these things, these horrific things that happen in history. So we don't censor historical moments as much anymore. But what we do censor is what people are allowed to say and what some news stations are allowed to show. And this actually brings me to a fantastic point about South Park. South Park is a show that should be censored, should be kicked off the air by the humor that it uses, because some people might deem it inappropriate. But because of how 9/11 has affected censorship, it affects main news censorship and social media censorship more than it affects TV show censorship. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
May I have a question? It's actually for both of you. So, Caleb, you talk about Microsoft obtaining Activision Blizzard, and you talk about the metaverse.
Yes.
Do you think, because Microsoft's becoming such a tech giant in the gaming community, that they would try to invest and capitalize off of the metaverse?
I believe that once the metaverse advances enough to where it's just below a social norm to be a part of it, that is when the gaming giants will take advantage of the situation and put their foothold in that market.
Caleb?
I don't think that this is true at all. I think that metaverse is not going to do very well. It is going to more so just be an accident that has been implemented very poorly. I feel like the media has actually gone a lot more farther beyond what the metaverse actually is in hopes to try to understand what the they have, as you brought up a lot in your thing, they have over dramatized. What you brought up in class earlier today. The media has over dramatized on this thing to make it seem a lot bigger than it actually is.
May I actually have a quick follow?
May I finish your question?
Oh
first?
yeah, sorry, you may.
But I don't think that they will try to capitalize off of any of these things, and I don't think that any of this will happen.